All right. We are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching, whenever you are watching. Thank you for choosing to be here on Sons Geek to watch me drink the rest of my coffee and react to this campaign trade Bol Bol signing. And we're going to talk some other Phoenix Suns related things and talk to you guys about some other stuff. It's going to be a great show. Thank you to everybody that is here. Thank you to everybody who waited. I had to get like the thumbnail made and get the live show set up and everything. You guys know how it works. And you guys already know the drill. Do me a favor. Let me know how we're sounding. Let me know how everything is looking. You guys know how I am with my mic quality and the presentation of these live shows and everything. So thank you, Suns Fever. I appreciate that. It says looking and sounding good. I appreciate it. And thank you, Chantel. I hope I said your name right. Thank you, guys. All right. So keep in mind, too, you guys, if I don't seem super, if my energy doesn't seem super high right now, it's just because I literally woke up as this news was breaking. Ate a light breakfast, drank my coffee, so I'm still like waking up. I may not be as jittery as I am. Thank you, Backcourt Highlights, and Brendan and Lindsay for letting me know we all sound good. All right, appreciate you guys. Do me a favor too, y'all. Crush that like button, share the show. I got my phone next to me just in case any other news breaks and everything. Let me take one more sip of my coffee, and then we'll get started. Cheers. Oh, delicious. Delicious, delicious coffee. Let me know if you guys drink coffee. I would like to know. All right, so let me just do one thing real quick. Let me just zoom in on this. Okay. So, yeah, I believe Sham Sharnia was the one to originally break this news. Let me just lower this tab. Sorry, guys, one man show here. You guys know how it works. Oops, that's not what I wanted to pull up. It's going to be a long show, you guys. Sort of, not really. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much the coffee kicks in. And then we'll determine how long the show goes with that. All right, cool. So let me just share the screen. All right, so yeah, Sham Sharnia was the one to break the tweet. Sham Sharnia from The Athletic. And what was first reported was, you guys can see the screen right there. Let me pull this down. Okay. So yeah, here is what is being reported. So Phoenix is trading guard Cameron Payne a second round pick in cash to San Antonio. And then, there were some tweets that followed up and everything. I believe Woj was tweeting about it as well. So in total, from the Suns, Bol Bol signs a 1-year, fully guaranteed deal, which we're going to talk about that later. We'll talk about Bol Bol later. Acquired 3 second rounders from Orlando for a pick swap, traded campaign cash to the Spurs for a future second. So a lot happened within like an hour. We traded a first round pick swap. We traded campaign. We signed Bol Bol. We got back more second round picks, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. And yeah, I guess what I really want to do here is I'm sort of torn on this. This goes back to my original thoughts when the TJ McConnell trade rumor was happening. I like campaign. I really do. And when I say that I really wish we could have seen campaign on this roster, I mean that, because think about it. Like, yes, I understand campaign, has had some injuries, has had some inconsistencies. I get it. I've talked about it plenty of times, yada, yada, yada. I get it. But think about it. You have, all off season to practice, get ready, train, all that stuff, which, by the way, he was recently training with Mikal Bridges. There was a photo about that and everything. You got a whole training camp in front of you, preseason, new coaching staff, new roster to be around. Maybe we could have seen a different version of campaign. So I kind of wanted to start with that. Is that I really would have been excited to see what campaign can do for this roster. Sorry, guys, my notifications are blowing up. Don't worry, it's not a trade or anything. But anyways, follow me on Instagram and Twitter and Threads, by the way. All that's linked down below in the description. But you know, there's also another thing, and I don't mean to sound harsh here, but it's kind of true. I'm not necessarily surprised by this campaign stuff, especially within the last 48 hours, because I just did a live show just the other day talking all about these trade rumors. And then after that live show, I made a YouTube short about this. It was Suns Elite on Instagram. He tagged Campaign into a post, just in case you guys missed it. He tagged him into a story and said, like, this isn't true, Campaign, or he said something like that. And then Campaign responded saying, like, or he said, like, ask your sources, or I don't know. You guys saw the YouTube short about it, right? But Campaign pretty much responded to Suns Elite on Instagram and said, yeah, like, check with your sources. So again, that didn't really surprise me that he was going to get traded. But here's the other thing too. Let me just check something real quick on my end. Okay. Can we do this? No, we can't. Sorry, guys. I'm multitasking at the moment. Okay. So then I posted on my Instagram last night because Campaign posted on his. He was in Atlanta, and there's nothing wrong with that because I guess recently Campaign was recently in Memphis and then was doing like some basketball event, I believe. And then he traveled to Atlanta. So I was like, okay, you know, maybe he's just traveling right now, visiting friends, visiting family or whatever. But I posted that for a reason. I screen capped it and I said, Campaign is in Atlanta. And then earlier this morning, he tweeted out, like, much love, Phoenix, or whatever, or I love you, Phoenix, which I'm actually going to pull that up right now. Let's go to his Twitter. We'll look at that tweet while I'm talking here. Yeah, he tweeted that out. And that was when I kind of knew. And that was like, what, 15 minutes? If you're looking at the screen right now, Campaign tweeted this out at 9:58 my time. And I swear to God, that was about 15 minutes. Maybe 30 before the trade happened. So I wonder if he knew about this trade in advance or if his agents called him and said, hey, you're being traded, blah, blah, blah. And he said, screw it. I'm just going to tweet out, I love you, Phoenix. That was when I really knew he was going to get traded. But like, again, it doesn't really surprise me that he was going to get traded. Another thing too, and I don't want to say I like predicted any of this or I called it because I really didn't. I just kind of had a feeling is that, like I said, when we got embarrassed by the Denver Nuggets, I said, do not be surprised if we have a whole bunch of new faces, you know, on this roster. So again, I'm still waking up here. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Kevin Durant, Josh Okogie, Damian Lee, are those like the only 5 remaining Suns players from last year? Like, am I missing anybody? And that's why I was so like big on that. I was like, I guarantee you, like, a whole bunch of this roster isn't coming back. And let's be real. That's not just because we got blown out by the Nuggets. Let's be real. More thoughts on that later, by the way. But the Suns are just going in a different direction. And speaking of a different direction, there's some Matt Ishbia stuff I would like to talk about later as well. We got a whole show going, you guys, so strap in. We're already 11 minutes in, and I'm just sitting here rambling on about Campaign and all that. So it's going to be a long show, y'all. Sawbook says, Suns Geek is so humble. He totally predicted this and acted like he didn't. No, I didn't predict nothing. I don't do predictions and all that, but I appreciate the nice comment. So, but real quick, before I continue talking about Campaign and we move on to like Bol Bol and everything and the signing and the trade, we definitely got to talk about the picks as well, because we've gotten back some picks, but I do just want to say thank you to Campaign as well. I mean, you guys know the story. This was a guy who was drafted, was a lottery pick, I believe. Wasn't he like the pick after Devin Booker? Or am I crazy or something like that? He was like the 14th pick or whatever. Didn't really do too much in OKC. really struggled. I believe he was out of the league for a while. And James Jones took a flyer on him, took a chance. And this was all like pre bubble, or this was like, before the bubble started. And Payne showed us what he could do in the bubble, and he played very well in the bubble. And again, had some injuries here and there, had some inconsistencies, but there was stretches where he played very well. And he looked like he could have been the, you know, backup. I mean, he pretty much was the backup point guard for at the time, the foreseeable future. I mean, again, this is back when we had Chris Paul, Payne, or not. This is back when we had Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, Cam John. You guys know what I'm talking about. Sorry, guys. I'm still waking up here. My apologies. Eventually, the coffee's going to hit me, and I'm just going to be bouncing all over the place. But that was a different time. And again, Payne, if you go back and you look at the numbers and you look at the highlights and you look at the stretches, there were times where Cameron Payne played very well. And I've seen it in my comments section. Like there were times where people were like, Payne can be our starting point guard. And I agreed with some of that. That's why I kind of said at the start of the show, I was like, I kind of wish we would have kept Payne just to see what he could do with this roster. So, again, and look, I never met Payne, unfortunately, but I know a lot of people who have, and I know that he was really good with his fans, was very humble. I really believe that he loved Phoenix. You know what I mean? Like his heart was in Phoenix. And again, that's why I just kind of wanted to give him his flowers, give him his credit and everything, because I don't know. I just feel like this is a really passionate player who loves basketball. And again, just somebody who's, sorry guys, I'm uploading something that I want to share with you guys. Just somebody who loves basketball. He loves Phoenix. And speaking of loving Phoenix, he tweeted this out a long time ago. When Mikal Bridges, I believe, was like extended or whatever, or got his contract or something like that. Mikal Bridges a long time ago tweeted out, "I don't ever want to leave Heart Suns." And then on August 20th, 2020, Payne tweeted out, "Is it okay for me to say the same thing?" So yeah, again, this is just a player who loves basketball. He loves the Valley. And Payne knows this. Let's be real, y'all. It's a business at the end of the day. It sucks that it's like that. He knows that. And again, there's a big part of me that wishes we could have kept him to see what he could do. Excuse me, I had to burp. But I'm going to miss Payne. I really will. I don't really know if he's going to stay in San Antonio. I don't know why. I'm going to go to Spot Track real quick, which is a great website, by the way. I highly recommend Spot Track. You can learn a lot more about like contracts and salaries, and there's other sports too. They got like the NFL, MLB. They cover like all the sports. But I want to look up the San Antonio Spurs real quick, and we'll kind of move on with the other stuff that went on. I just want to see who the Spurs have, because again, if you just missed it, Payne is currently in Atlanta, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe he's traveling, like I said, maybe he's visiting family, but I wonder if he's going to get maybe rerouted in a trade. So according to Spot Track, they have, in terms of guards, Devontae Graham, Trey Jones, who I believe, or it looks like he's got bird rights, but he's a free agent. Devin Vassell, who's like a combo guard, Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley. So yeah, I guess maybe they could keep a Payne there. I don't know. Bobby Marks, I think, was tweeting about the Spurs situation and if they're gonna keep. I don't know, but we'll see. So yeah, I just wanted to give my flowers and the credit to Payne. Because again, he is one of the original Valley Boys. He's one of the original Bubble Suns, and was on this team for a few years, you guys. And speaking of being on this team for a few years, let me just go to Basketball Reference. Let me just zoom in here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Whoa, that's a little too far. Let's zoom out a little bit. Share this screen. Let me scroll down a little bit. Can you guys see what I'm looking at here? Here's Cam Payne's career. And in his 4 seasons with Phoenix, he played in 174 games. Only started. Oh, wait. Does it show how many he started? Yeah, he started. Wow. Cam Payne only started in 28 games throughout his 4 seasons. Well, he averaged close to 10 points per game. How many assists did he have? 4.2 assists, 2.6 rebounds, shot 43% and 38% from 3 during his time with Phoenix. So, yeah, Cam Payne, I'm sad to see him go. And I wish him the best. We'll have to see. Maybe San Antonio hangs on to him. Maybe they're kind of looking for us. Cam Payne's still a young player, don't get me wrong, but he is kind of a veteran in this league. He's been in the league for a while. And maybe that's kind of what San Antonio's looking for. More on that in a little bit. But let's move on here. Because sorry, guys. You guys already know, one-man show here. Let me just do this real quick. Let's talk about Bol Bol for a minute. Bol Bol, baby. All right. What's this picture right here? Okay, well, that's an old tweet. All right, well, we'll just go to Woj's Twitter then. Woj. Adrian Wojnarowski. Are you guys team Shams or are you guys team Woj? Let me know. Or you guys team somebody else? Because there are some other NBA insiders who do a lot about this. Ooh, speaking of NBA insiders, I just want to give credit where credit is due. Because in my opinion, this is important. With the whole Woj Shams thing. Somebody who I've had on this channel before, Jake Fisher. Jake Fisher called this. He was sort of the first one that reported about the Cam Payne trade. Now, again, that was with the whole TJ McConnell stuff. But Jake Fisher was pretty much on this one. So shout out to Jake Fisher, man. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Thank you, T.O., for the nice, he says, hashtag Team Geek. I appreciate that. Cheers. Delicious. All right, you guys. So yeah, we can maybe talk about Cam Payne later on and stuff, but that's just kind of my thoughts. Just to recap, if you guys are just joining us, first off, if you are just joining us, crush that like button. We got over 230 people in here. Smash that like button, share the show, tell people about Sons Geek. I would really appreciate it. But if you're just joining us, just to recap, Cameron Payne has been traded to the San Antonio Spurs, and the Suns have signed Bol Bol, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But they also traded a future first-round pick swap to get back some second-round picks, and we are going to talk about second-round picks later. And pretty much, I wish we could have seen what Cam Payne could have done on this team. I'm going to miss him. He's a Valley boy forever. He's a Phoenix Sun forever. And I wish him the best. So that's my quick little recap summary of the Cam Payne stuff. And again, maybe we will talk about this later. And yes, backcourt highlights. Also, Geek, Flex was right too. Yes, because Flex, which I did mention in my YouTube short, by the way, Flex from Jersey did confirm that the Suns were pretty actively seeking out Cam Payne trades. So shout out to my guy, Flex from Jersey. By the way, I don't want to put words in Flex's mouth, but I was DMing him recently. He's been a little bit busy, but he pretty much said that he is going to be on this show soon. We don't know when yet, but he pretty much told me, yeah, like, let's do a show in the future. So get ready for that soon. Hopefully we can get him on at some point. Real quick, before we're talking about the Bol Bol stuff, good question here from 5EBA. Do we have Saban Lee or was he waived? As of right now, to my knowledge, he is with us. He signed a contract. He is with us. Now, I don't know. Now, it's a two-way deal, so it's not like 110% fully guaranteed, which Bol Bol's deal is, but he's on a two-way deal. So as of right now, July 16th at 12:06 my time, he is with the Phoenix Suns. And we're going to need him. We're going to need a backup guard. Let's be real. All right. Bol Bol, ladies and gentlemen. Bol Bol signs with your Phoenix Suns. Now, this broke about maybe like 5 minutes after the Cam Payne trade, maybe less than that. probably like 2 minutes later. ESPN sources, free agent Bol Bol has agreed on a 1-year deal with the Phoenix Suns. At just 23 years old, Bol Bol had his best NBA season with the Orlando Magic, 9 points, 5.8 rebounds, 1 block in just 21 and a half minutes per game. Another developing talent to join a deepened bench rotation. That comes from Woj. And then also, I don't know if you can see it. Let me just pull it up here. He also followed that tweet up by saying, guaranteed deal for Bol. And again, we're going to talk about the draft capital and all that later because Woj was tweeting about it. I know Bobby Marks has been all over it. But yeah, Bol has signed a deal with the Phoenix Suns. And I've talked about this plenty on the channel. I understand if a lot of you guys do not want Bol Bol. I get it. I understand, he played for a bad Orlando Magic team last year. And by the way, I want to address, I'm not trying to pick on this individual here, but someone left a comment saying like, he played on the worst team last year. No wonder he's going to look good. First off, and again, that was a comment from a while ago, but it kind of bothered me, but the Magic were not the worst team last year. Like, yes, they were a lottery team, but they weren't the worst team last year. And I understand it was just for a small stretch, and then he got hurt, and then Wendell Carter came back, and then he fell out of the rotation. I get it, but he wasn't the worst. It's not like the Magic were like a Dylan Brooks situation where they're like, you're not coming back under any circumstances. No, like, I just think he fell out of the rotation, and I think after the draft, because they brought on 2 lottery picks, I just think they just decided to move on. But again, let's get optimistic here, ladies and gentlemen, because again, I understand a lot of you guys don't really like Bol Bol, but I'm going to stick with how I feel about this. And I'm going to kind of quote Andrew Lee's here, whether you love him or hate him. I'm going to quote him here. It's a low risk, high reward move. And look at Woj's tweet. Another developing talent to join a deepened bench roster. It's not like Bol Bol's going to be starting, y'all. It's not like he's going to be taking up minutes for guys who have like seniority over him and who have been working their tail off. It's not like Bol Bol's going to get that privilege necessarily. So I don't really see the overreaction here. And again, everyone has their opinion, and that's fine. Oh, breaking news, y'all, sort of. Shams Charania, Bradley Beal is expected to enter the 2023-24 Suns training camp as the team's starting point guard with Jordan Goodwin as a reserve point guard, sources say. That's sort of breaking news, y'all. Let's go back to Shams. We got to go back to Shams, y'all. By the way, speaking of Shams, I don't know why I just thought this. When I said, let's get back to Shams, y'all, when I just said that just now, I was like, could you guys imagine if I got Shams Charania on the show? That'd be amazing. Anyways, okay. Where's that tweet? He just tweeted it. It's gone. Oh, here it is. Duh, I'm stupid. Okay. So look at the tab, y'all. If you guys can see the screen. Wait, that's not it. Wait. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. The coffee is like kicking my butt right now. All right. Bradley Beal is expected to enter the 2023-24 Suns training camp as the team's starting point guard with Jordan Goodwin as the reserve point guard, sources said. Shams Charania just tweeted this out. There's the read on The Athletic if you have the subscription. Details on the Suns moves shore up the roster, add second rounders for future moves, creating $30 million in tax savings. That comes from Shams Charania of The Athletic. And you know what? I know it's just Summer League, and I know our conversation's kind of jumping all over the place right now. And I'll get back to the Bol Bol stuff in a little bit, but look, I know it's just Summer League. Jordan Goodwin is still a very young player, but I like what I saw. And again, I only saw the one game because I believe he only played in one game in Summer League and then he got hurt. It was really like a half. I don't even think he played the full game. But I did do a little bit of research with this time, when he was with the Wizards and the Wizards G League team, the Capital City Go-Go. This is a dog that we got here, you guys, a defensive dog, somebody who is going to work his tail off. And again, it was only one half of Summer League. I could be eating my words later in the year when he plays, but I like what I saw from him. He was aggressive. He can play make. He can shoot. I think shooting is kind of his most underrated factor. And when we first traded for Bradley Beal and we ended up getting Jordan Goodwin, there was a story on The Athletic about I think it was the Wizards G League team. They went out for this bowling event and everything. And it was supposed to just be a fun team chemistry building thing. And Jordan Goodwin, this is just the kind of person he is. He was so competitive that he was trying to beat everybody in bowling, and he wasn't even much of a bowler. That just goes to show the kind of person and the competitive spirit that Jordan Goodwin is. Now, don't get me wrong, he's going to have to work his tail off. I mean, Jordan Goodwin has a lot of pressure on him, if you will, because you got to be consistent. You got to play make. You got to set up our big three. And you got to do it on the defensive end. And in my opinion, he can. I'm not saying he's the greatest defender in the league, I'm not saying he's the greatest backup defender guard in the league, but also follow-up tweet from Shams here. Suns' overall rotation will consist of multiple ball handlers. Looking at you, Frank Vogel. That's what he said in the press conference and in Bradley Beal's press conference as well. So Suns' overall rotation will consist of multiple ball handlers able to initiate offense, including Beal, Goodwin, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, free agent acquisition, Eric Gordon, and two-way guard Saben Lee. So Frank Vogel wasn't joking, y'all. Frank Vogel was not kidding when he said, and I quote, "We are going to have a multiple ball handler attack." Yeah. So that's what it's looking like, you guys. For those of you who were concerned, and I did see a couple tweets, and I even saw it earlier in the chat saying we don't really have a point guard right now, do we? We really don't. I mean, I don't even know if I would call I guess Saben Lee's a point. I'm going to call Saben Lee just a guard, because let's be real, Bradley Beal's a combo scoring guard. We all know what Devin Booker is. He's a superstar. Kevin Durant can play make. Eric Gordon's a combo scoring guard as well. And Saben Lee is just an explosive, fast guard. You know what I mean? Let me take a sip of my coffee real quick. Delicious. Breaking news for Denver Nuggets fans. The Denver Nuggets are signing 7-footer Jay Huff on a 2-way contract. That's good. Jay Huff, somebody who, pretty big name if you're a basketball sicko, and looks like he landed a 2-way spot with the Nuggets. Anyways, so yeah, we do not have a true point guard, is what I'm saying. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. Because, look, even though Bradley Beal, he can play make. Is he the greatest playmaker of all time? No. But he can do it. It might be part of his game that's a little underrated and maybe overlooked, in my opinion. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know that he can play make and get some assists. But I like how Shams tweeted this, because he's talking about the overall rotation will consist of multiple ball handlers. And then just look at the names here. Bradley Beal, Jordan Goodwin, Booker, who we all know can play make and has gotten better at playmaking, by the way, and Kevin Durant. I like that. And again, Eric Gordon can do a little bit of that as well. And then if we're desperate, Saben Lee. We got guys that can get the ball zipping around. We got guys that can take the ball up the court and take a little pressure off of, let's say, Booker or KD. Excuse me. Because let's just pretend we still had Chris Paul here. this now takes a little bit of pressure off of, it's not even like if Chris Paul were still here. It just takes pressure off of whoever is the primary playmaker, if that makes sense. We got a lot of guys that can take the ball up the court and can get that ball zipping around. And I like that. And again, you guys, I don't want to sound too overconfident here, but let's be real. Like, this offense, once everything starts clicking, once everything is just going so smoothly, this offense is going to be really tough to stop. And Bradley Beal even jokingly talked about that recently, saying like good luck. Like, if I'm wide open, or if Booker's wide open, or if KD's wide open, we're all three on the court together, or even just two of them are on the court together, like, good luck trying to stop us, especially with the guys that we added, a few sharpshooters, guys that can really put the ball in the basket. Like, we should all be excited right now, you guys. This multiple ball handler attack is going to be tough to stop. Real quick, we got over 300 people in here, y'all. Crush that like button. Share the show. Tell people about Suns Geek. Tell your cousin, tell your grandma, tell your friends, tell your coworkers. Make sure to share the show, y'all. Crush that like button, because that tells YouTube that I'm doing a good job over here. And I would just really appreciate it. Even if you're not subscribed, just crush that like button, y'all. So yeah, I'm excited for the Suns' multiple ball handler attack. And again, I understand people's concerns, like, oh crap, we don't really have like a true point guard like a Chris Paul. That's okay though, because like I mentioned, we have guys that can play make, and we have a lot of them that can take pressure off of, let's say, a Bradley Beal, who again is looking like the team's starting point guard. So again, we don't know what the starting five is going to look like. I honestly think, unless like Frank Vogel comes out with a statement, I don't think we're going to know that until maybe the first preseason game. And I'm serious about that. I feel like that fifth spot is going to be a story that we're going to talk about all off season long, and maybe even in training camp. Just because first off, our roster's super deep. We have a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things out there, and you got to kind of earn that spot. But it also wouldn't surprise me if it wouldn't really surprise me if that fifth spot kind of gets swapped out a little bit. You know what I mean? I could definitely see that. So yeah, no point guard for the Phoenix Suns. I see a couple comments in there about the point guards thing. But I am going to agree. I am going to agree with David here. Point guards are irrelevant. Everyone wants big switchable players who can also handle the ball. Exactly. That's pretty much what I just said. We got a lot of guys out there that can do a lot of different things, play multiple positions. Exactly, David. I agree with you. All right. So the Bol Bol stuff sort of got interrupted, and I don't even know if I have any like real expert analysis on Bol Bol. I just kind of am sticking to what I've originally said in past live shows and in past YouTube shorts that I've made. It's a low risk, high reward. It's a 1-year fully guaranteed deal on a very deepened roster for Bol Bol. And look, I don't know how recent it was, but there was a picture that surfaced of Bol Bol working out with KD. Who else was there? I'm drawing a blank. Wasn't it like Paul George? Like Paul George, KD, somebody else, and Bol Bol was in that workout. Now, I don't know how recent that picture was, but it surfaced, and you can clearly see Bol Bol in the picture. And again, I'm just sticking to it. This is a low risk, high reward. Bol Bol did show some flashes. I understand that highlights, watching highlights are a completely different thing. Especially if you go back and watch certain players like high school highlights, you would think they'd be like the next LeBron James or Michael Jordan or whatever. But I'm staying positive about it. This is a young, developing talent. As Woj mentions here, he's only 23 years old. still a young player. And by the way, recently Bol Bol, I believe he was at Summer League, and I believe he said like he watches a whole bunch of Kevin Durant highlights. So seems like he's got a lot of love for KD. And shout out to my guy Hitman X, who says, salute Suns Geek. I don't know if you touched on it, but doesn't this trade open up the opportunity to trade for TJ? Great question here. I don't believe TJ Warren. I thought TJ Warren was an unrestricted free agent. Let's go back to Spot Track, because again, I'm telling you guys, Spot Track is on it. And I think, now look, maybe this is me pointing out the obvious here. I think if TJ Warren were coming back, he would have already been brought back. Does that make sense? So I'm on Spot Track right now. And yeah, TJ Warren's an unrestricted free agent. He's on the free agent roster or free agent thing. I'm sharing my tab right now. Seriously, you guys, go check out Spot Track. They got everything covered. And sometimes it's like instantly, like whenever a trade happens, they are on it. So yeah, TJ Warren's a unrestricted free agent, y'all. And I give it like a 1% chance. I don't even think we have the room to bring back TJ Warren. So appreciate you being here, Hitman X. You've been watching this channel for a very long time. Oh, sorry guys. He says he meant TJ McConnell. He meant TJ McConnell. My bad, y'all. Okay, well now my thoughts are all over the place. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't see a scenario where TJ Warren comes back, and maybe I'm missing something here. I don't see a scenario where we get TJ McConnell. Just saying, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's another deal that could happen. I don't know. But yeah. Bol Bol is 24, 7.2, and has potential. Could be a good addition. Anyone with upside has to be worth it. Exactly. Oops. Logan says he means TJ McConnell Geek, and no, the traded player exception isn't big enough. Okay. Thank you, Logan, for summing that up. Sorry, guys. Again, this conversation is jumping all over the place. 1 minute we're talking about campaign, then we're talking about Bol Bol, then we're talking about TJ Warren, and now we're talking about TJ McConnell. So welcome to Suns Geek Live Show, where conversations jump all over the place. All right. So yeah, that's sort of to put a bow on it, because we're almost like at the 40-minute mark. And don't go anywhere. We got lots more to talk about, y'all. That's sort of just my thoughts on campaign, the trade, Bol Bol. And look, I'll just say this to end the Bol Bol talk. Can we at least just get a little optimistic about it? Because let's be real, he's probably not going to get many minutes. Let's just give the kid a chance before you guys just say, this is the worst signing of all time, and I hate Bol Bol, and blah, 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 blah. Come on, y'all. Get optimistic about it. Come on, let's go. The QC says, your Suns gear game is outrageous, brother. I'm actually pissed off with how much dope gear you got. That's the greatest comment of all time. Thank you, the QC, who I did have on this channel once when I let some of you guys on. Shout out to the QC for that great comment right there. All right, y'all. Let's talk about those second round picks, shall we? And again, don't go anywhere, because we got lots more to talk about. We're even going to react to a jersey and some other Suns related things. So, all right. And I'm going to try to, because there was a lot of tweets like flying in from Bobby Marks, and shout out to Bobby Marks from ESPN. He does a great job. He was on this. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm getting this right. And I guess we'll start from when campaign was traded. So this was about an hour ago. I'm going to go to Bobby Marks' Twitter, and we're just going to kind of start from the bottom and go to the top. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. Anyways. All right. So here's Bobby Marks' tweeter. Bobby Marks' tweeter. Twitter. All right. So yeah, campaign was traded, and he says, Payne is on an expiring $6.5 million contract. The Suns will create a $6.5 million trade exception to open up a roster spot. The Payne salary will go into the Spurs cap space. So that's not, that's just, it is what it is. But here's where he starts talking about the picks. And I'm going to full screen this so you guys can see it. I'm going to try to understand it as well. Once again, the Suns are betting on themselves this time with the Orlando Magic. Phoenix already owed a pick swap with Washington in 2026. Here's an example. Washington picked 10, Phoenix picked 20, Orlando picked 25. The Magic would now have the 20th pick in the NBA draft, and Phoenix would have picked 25. That's why they call it a pick swap, and the Wizards would stay at 10. That's good. That's like a good summary analysis there from Bobby Marks. But there's a little bit more. He follows that tweet up by saying, here's what Phoenix now owns, keyword, here's what Phoenix owns in the first round in the future. The least favorable of their own pick, Washington, if Washington picks 13 to 30, or Memphis. 2025 to Brooklyn. 2026 least favorable of own, Washington, if it's not conveyed to New York or Orlando. 2027 to Brooklyn. And then the least favorable of their own, Washington, Philly, if 9 to 30 or Brooklyn. And then 2029 to Brooklyn. Little confusing there. And then 2030, least favorable of own to Washington or Memphis. So I guess what this sort of complicated, kind of boring tweet is saying, and someone correct me in the chat if I'm wrong here. I guess what this tweet means is the Suns do have picks. Let me just full screen myself and look you guys right in the eye. Let's make eye contact here. The Phoenix Suns have draft picks. We have picks. We got a lot of them back. You guys ever seen the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner, which I highly recommend, by the way? I have it on Blu-ray. It's a great movie. There's like a scene where he's like arguing with this one GM and he's like, I want my picks back. I want all of them. I love that movie. Go watch that movie right now. Well, actually, don't watch it right now. Watch it after you get done watching this live show. Anyways, Kevin Costner, Draft Day. Go check it out. But yeah, so Bobby Marks doing the work there with the tweets. But I think there was another tweet I wanted to read. Well, this is more on the San Antonio end. So if you're a Spurs fan and you're watching, this goes for you Spurs fans. But he says, San Antonio has begun using the $5.2 million Trey Jones cap hold as a buffer to preserve room. Once Jones signs his contract starting at the $10 million projected, the Spurs $5.2 million room will go away. If Jones signed the contract, the Spurs would not have room to acquire Payne. Oh, if Jones signed, okay, I get what he's saying. Okay, that scared me. I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, so that's on the Spurs end. And by the way, if you're a Spurs fan and you happen to be watching this channel and you don't really know too much about Cam Payne, let me just tell you this. You guys are going to love Cam Payne if you guys keep him. Hard worker, loves basketball, will represent for your city, good with the community, good with the fans, and just a fun guy, man. Shout out to Cam Payne. All right. Let's see. Shout out to Bees, who has a hilarious profile picture. If you know, you know. He says, as a Suns fan, it's nice to know we can always count, and he puts always in big parentheses, always count on Professor Geek. I appreciate you. If breaking news happens and it has to do with the Phoenix Suns, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Great comment there. All right. Says, thanks for hopping on the live, Mr. Geek. Exactly. That's why I'm here for you guys. I'm here for you guys. Speaking of that, shameless plug here. Guys, that's the reason I have this channel, is just so we can talk about it, just so we can all react together and I can hear what you guys are saying, because you guys are the real voice of the Phoenix Suns. I'm just a guy who talks about the Suns on YouTube and gives my thoughts and speculates and reacts. But you guys are the voice. That's why I like getting you guys on this channel sometimes, because I don't know everything. I've been wrong on things. You guys know. Like, let's be real. If you go back to my free agency shows, I barely knew anything about Keita Bates-Diop, to be honest. So And again, I didn't really have necessarily the greatest analysis of Bol Bol. I was just reacting and giving my thoughts. So shout out to you guys. You guys are the real voice here on Suns Geek, and I appreciate you guys. All right, anyways. Okay. Real quick, before we move on, there was, I think, one more tweet I wanted to react to. Then we're going to talk about some other stuff. Sorry, I'm just checking Twitter to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. Oops, that's not it. My bad, you guys. Here we go. So much is happening on my screen. What is going on with my life? Okay, 1 second here, you guys. My apologies. Okay. One more tweet, again, coming mainly from the Spurs side. This comes from Keith Smith, who I highly recommend to follow. He's a great follow on Twitter. He tweets this out from the Spurs side. By my count, the Spurs had just over 6.5 million in cap space remaining. That was enough to take on Cameron Payne's contract, which is 6.5. Spurs can now move forward in re-signing Trey Jones and Sandro. I don't even want to butcher that name. If he sticks, Payne gives San Antonio some depth at point guard behind Trey Jones, which, I mean, they have like a young roster in, the Wemby era and all that, but maybe Cam Payne could start for the Spurs. Just saying. I don't know, but I think they really like Trey Jones, and I could probably see him starting. Anyways, all right, y'all. So here's what we're gonna do now, because I kind of feel like we've talked, enough about Cam Payne and Bol Bol, and I understand if that's a big reason why you guys are here, but stick around because we got a lot more other Sun stuff to talk about. I want to react to a jersey. And by the way, I'll try to answer some questions. Maybe we'll get some of you guys on if you're down. Maybe later, like once we pass the 1 hour mark, maybe we can get some of you guys on. You guys can react, give your thoughts. You guys can ask me a question or something like that. We'll see. Let's react to a jersey. And then I want to talk about a Matt Ishbia, Chris Paul thing. And then I want to react to another thing that happened yesterday. All right. So first off, shout out to Suns Uni Tracker on Twitter. He does incredible work. He's always on top of the jerseys and all that. And he definitely knows his stuff. He's definitely connected and all that. Let me just take a sip of my coffee and we will react to this jersey. And I'm sure you guys saw this by now because he tweeted it, he shared it on Instagram and all that, but I think it's worth reacting to. Let me just share this. Sorry, guys, one-man show here. All right. So you guys can see the screen right now, and I'll pull it up so it looks a little better. But first off, before I show you the full jersey, he said, I think the Sun City Edition jersey, or blah, blah, blah. Let me try that again. I think the Sun City Edition, aka El Valle, however you want to pronounce that, will be close to this. Colors may not be perfect. Gradient drop shadow over the text may not be accurate. I added it for flair. Zoom in. I drew the script freehand pretty quickly, so it's probably a bit off. So this is what he is predicting. Now, he's just predicting. He just came up with this concept of a jersey. This is what he's thinking the El Valle, or however you want to pronounce that, will look like. Now, look, no disrespect to Suns Uni Tracker. I love the guy. He does great work and all that. The only thing about this jersey is the number 3 just looks off. I don't know if it's like the font or I don't know. The 3 just looks weird. I kind of get where it's coming from a color scheme. I'm not super crazy about these jerseys, but I will say I like the font on the El Valle, or however you pronounce that. Let's just say I didn't learn much Spanish, but I kind of want to. So just wanted to say that. Just wanted to go over this jersey. Again, if you guys haven't been following the whole Suns jersey thing, I've talked about it a lot with the Suns Jam Session podcast on previous shows. We are definitely getting new jerseys, and we are definitely getting a new Suns City Edition jersey, because I believe, maybe on the exception of like 2021, I believe every year we get a new Suns City Edition jersey, to my knowledge. I think pre-pandemic, Nike came out with that statement saying most teams, if not all teams, will get a Sun City or get a new City Edition jersey each year. So yeah, and again, another point that Suns Uni Tracker made too is a lot of the pictures and promotions have been the Suns wearing their statement jerseys, those black ones. Even when Bradley Beal first got here, he was holding up his son's statement jersey, which also confirms that we're going to be getting a lot more jerseys. So not too crazy about this particular jersey. And again, it's just a screen. It's just a graphic. It's just a concept. This isn't like the official Suns jerseys. We are going to be finding out that out later. I believe like in late August, maybe September. Maybe August and September. That's probably when we'll know. And I talked about this on the Suns Jam Session podcast. Usually social media teams will tease the drop like a week before or even like a couple of days before. So we'll sort of get like a sneak peek and then they'll be like, here's when the jersey's coming, y'all. And then, so just want to let you guys know about that. Again, not too crazy about these jerseys. I do like the font. I kind of see where he's getting from. I understand the concept. For some reason, the 3 right there, the number doesn't do it for me. And I'm usually not picky about jerseys. I like a lot of jerseys. But this, not really the greatest. But again, I understand what he's doing here. It's just a concept. It's just a thought. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about a couple more things. So I meant to talk about this the other day. When I did my live show just the other day. But for some reason, I completely forgot to talk about it. And I had it like in my notes and everything. So for anybody who cares out there, Matt Ishbia, our owner of the Phoenix Suns and Mercury, was recently interviewed by, I believe, Arizona Central, the Arizona Republic, whatever they go by, Dwayne Rankin. He was interviewed by him, and he had some comments on the Chris Paul thing. Now, a little bit of a backstory, if you guys haven't been following. During the Chris Paul trade, Chris Paul was interviewed by, I forget who, and he pretty much said that Matt Ishbia decided to go like in a different direction, and somehow Isaiah Thomas was involved, and there was that whole like shadow GM of Isaiah Thomas and all that stuff, right? And then Isaiah Thomas pretty much was asked about that and was like, I'm going to talk to Chris Paul next time I see him. I'm like, what are you, his dad or something? Like, come on, dude. Like, that's you should have just said no comment. Like, it's all good. Me and Chris, he should have just worded it differently. Like, oh, me and Chris Paul we're good. Like we'll squash that. We're good. There's no beef or whatever. But he was like, I'm going to talk to Chris Paul when I see him. What does that even mean? But anyways, so Chris Paul was interviewed by Dwayne Rankin of the Arizona Central, and you see the screen cap right here on the thing. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. My brain is fried. So he asked, what was your reaction? Now, again, Dwayne Rankin's talking to Suns owner Matt Ishbia. What was your reaction to Chris saying you and Isaiah wanted to go in a different direction? And that was part of the reason he got traded. This is Matt Ishbia responding. Quote, that had nothing to do with the trade of Chris Paul. Chris Paul was a great part of our organization for years and years. We were lucky to have him, and I wish him nothing but the best going forward. So again, Dwayne Rankin asking Suns owner Matt Ishbia what his reaction was to Chris Paul saying you and Isaiah Thomas, who's not even on the Suns staff, wanted to go in a different direction. That was the reason he got traded. That was Matt Ishbia's response. But there was a follow-up question in response. Well, really a follow-up answer. I'm sorry. Matt Ishbia said, and I quote, when decisions are made in the organization, team president of basketball ops and GM, James Jones, myself, CEO Josh Bartelstein, who I believe is a little bit above James Jones, head coach Frank Vogel, our executive team make decisions. Outside people have sorry, outside people don't have any role in our decision making process. They never have, they never will. I've asked for advice from a lot of people, specifically Tom Izzo, Isaiah Thomas, Matt Teen Cleaves, and Charlie Bell. I talked to a lot of people, but honestly, on this situation, not one of those people were consulted on this decision. So that's a big takeaway right there. First off, I do like how he worded one part of this. Now, again, if you're just joining us, crush that like button, share the show. But we're talking about, I'll pull up the first screenshot. We're talking about how Dwayne Rankin asked Suns owner Matt Ishbia about the whole Chris Paul reaction thing, about Matt Ishbia and Isaiah Thomas appearing like they were running the show and that they were going in a different direction. But I like how he worded this when he said, when decisions are made in the organization, it's myself, blah, 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 blah. Our executive team makes decisions. And I like how he said outside people don't have any role in our decision-making process. They never have, they never will. I like how he answered that. And in all fairness to Matt Ishbia, that's how James Jones would answer this question. That's how Frank Vogel would answer this question. Heck, that's even how like a Kevin Young would, our assistant head coach would have answered this question. That's sort of the correct way to answer it. If I worked for the team, that's how I probably would have answered it. I would have been like, yeah, Matt Ishbia, James Jones, all these guys, they make those decisions. But, and I talked about this before, y'all. I'm not saying I'm right on everything, but I did talk about this before. And I'm sort of torn on this because here's the next part of it. Matt Ishbia said, I've asked for advice from a lot of people, specifically Tom Izzo, Isaiah Thomas, et cetera, et cetera. I'm torn on that. And here's why. Because one, and again, I talked about this before, y'all. I think that's okay. Like, again, Matt Ishbia played college basketball. It's not like he was in the NBA. It's not like he played overseas, to my knowledge. It's not like he was ever a head coach. You know what I mean? He's just a really smart guy who became a billionaire, who earned enough money to buy the Phoenix Suns and now is a GM. So it's okay to ask advice. And I even said that. A lot of people don't like Isaiah Thomas for the off the court stuff, and I understand that. Sorry, something's in my eye. I understand why a lot of people don't like Isaiah Thomas for the off the court stuff. I get it. But basketball related stuff, I mean, I would take advice from Isaiah Thomas just because the dude is a Hall of Famer. He's probably one of the more overlooked point guards of all time and played many years in this league. And again, didn't have the greatest coaching career, had a terrible run as GM and all that stuff. But the dude's on NBA TV. He's a great broadcaster. In my opinion, he knows his stuff. Now, again, I wouldn't always go to advice for Isaiah Thomas, but I would, if I was in Matt Ishbia's position, I would probably, and if I was close with Isaiah Thomas, I'd probably pick up the phone and ask him for advice. But again, look at the screenshot. He wasn't just getting advice from Isaiah Thomas. He was getting advice from one of the greatest college coaches ever, Tom Izzo. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know who those other people are, but, I think it's okay to get advice from those people. So we'll see. I don't know. I just want, and I meant to go over that a couple days ago, but I just completely forgot. I think it's interesting though. So yeah, that's Matt Ishbia pretty much getting his statement from the reaction of Chris Paul saying that Matt Ishbia and Isaiah Thomas wanted to go in a different direction on why he got traded. So, excuse me. Also, real quick, while I take a sip of my water, look at this picture of Bol Bol. Sorry, guys, I had to drink some water there. Yeah, Bleacher Report put this picture out. Good little Photoshop there. Bol Bol and the Suns statement jersey with KD, Book, and Beal. By the way, y'all, can we just appreciate the fact that we have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal on the same roster? Can we just take that in for a minute? That's freaking awesome, man. All right. Marty McFly said, haha, no DA. That's funny. And yes, for those of you who are wondering, and for those of you who may not know, yes, I did see that DeAndre Ayton's no trade clause or whatever expired. I think my guy John from the Suns Jam Session podcast posted about that. Also, for anybody who cares, Michael Scotto from Hoops Hype says that the Toronto Raptors are interested in Tyler Hero. I'm so frustrated with the Raptors, man. They're so frustrated. I don't know what they are doing. They're like literally borderline of like maybe being a play-in team, but also close to being on the verge of just blowing it all up and rebuilding. I don't know what they're doing. They have had such a weird offseason, man. But anyways. All right, y'all. Sean says Cleaves and Bell are his old college teammates from Michigan State. Thank you for letting me know. I was like, I had no clue who those guys were. Charlie Bell sounded a little familiar, but I didn't really know who that was. All right. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about here, and then maybe, would you guys, I don't know, do you guys want to like ask questions? Do you guys want to get on the show for a couple of minutes? I'll bring a couple of you guys on. I will say this, if you are going to join the show, come with some sort of a take, or come with a question or a comment, concern, whatever your case may be, if I do let you guys on. Last thing we're going to talk about here, let me just pull this up. The Phoenix Mercury, oops, I can't type for some reason. There it is. I'm just going to their Twitter. Phoenix Mercury will be hosting NBA All-Star Weekend in 2024. Let me just find the tweet real quick. Sorry, y'all. By the way, I don't know if y'all saw the WNBA All-Star jerseys this year are like low-key fire. I kind of want one of those. Let me just find the tweet. Where is it? Where's the tweet? Sorry, guys. One-man show here. Okay, I guess the Phoenix Mercury didn't tweet about it. Cool. Well, we'll just go to the WNBA thing because I know they posted about it. But yeah, pretty much Phoenix Mercury are hosting the WNBA All-Star weekend next year in Phoenix, which is awesome. I'm not going to bother to pull it up. But anyways, that's that. Just wanted to share that little bit of information there. And speaking of that, Matt Ishbia has been pretty vocal about getting, I think he only talked about it once, but he was vocal about getting NBA All-Star Weekend back to Phoenix, which, if you don't know, last time we had it was back in 2009. So it's been a long time. Now, again, I made a video about this. It would probably take a few more years. It's probably very, like, I don't even know where it is next year, but like, there's teams ahead of us pretty much. So, I don't know. Shout out to Watchman WD says, Suns Geek, you're the man. How are you? Always first to find Suns news. I appreciate that, man. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking, man. All right. All right. So last thing we will do here is actually, you know what? I think that's kind of it. I think I've talked everything. If you guys want, I'll just take a risk here. Screw it. I'm going to put the link in the chat. I'm going to put the invite link in the chat. If you guys want to join the show for a couple minutes, and if not, ask a question. We'll see. Question here from Roy who says, Geek, could you see Wainwright getting traded or released? I sort of had this thought in the back of my head. I think more released than I could see him getting waived. And that's nothing against Ish Wainwright. I like Ish Wainwright. I really do. And maybe Ish Wainwright would fit better in Frank Vogel's defensive system. Maybe. I don't know. Because we all know what Ish Wainwright can do. He hustles, he plays defense, he works his tail off. That's a Frank Vogel kind of guy right there. Traded, I don't know. And I'm seeing some stuff in the chat about TJ McConnell. Now, again, I'm reacting live. I don't have everything in front of me. I don't know how a TJ McConnell ends up on this team. If you guys know about that, let me know in the chat and I'll read it. I don't know. Maybe somebody came up with it on the trade machine. I don't know. But yeah, I could see more Ish Wainwright getting released than I can see him getting traded. Sounds like I'm always here. I just never talk in chat. I'm in the subway right now. Says Booker Prods. Mark Cooper says, get McConnell and trade Ish Wainwright and a second rounder for Alex Caruso. That would be amazing, but I doubt that that's going to happen. That would be incredible, though. If we add TJ McConnell and Alex Caruso, it's over. I'm going out on a limb and saying that we would win the chip right there. That'd be amazing, but I doubt that that happens. Thank you, Hey.0. Next year it's in Indiana. Yeah, like I kind of knew that, but I like completely forgot. All right. Question from Watchman, who says, what are the Suns going to do at the point guard position? We sort of talked about this already. Sham Charania did put out that Bradley Beal will be starting and that we're just going to have a multiple ball handler attack with KD, Book, Goodwin, Saban Lee. Suns Geek, I am so confused. Vogel keeps hyping our players up, so we think they gonna stay and they get traded the next day. I am scared DA is gonna get traded. I want to see him in his system. Thank you, Backcourt Highlights, for bringing this up. I was gonna talk about that. Thank you. I love this comment here. Okay. I'm the last guy that like cares about like PR, public relations and all that. But I will say this. Frank Vogel is doing the right thing about hyping up our players. And that's why I like your comment a lot. That's what you have to do as a basketball coach, especially a basketball coach who just inherited a deep roster who could potentially win a championship this year or next year. So I like that Frank Vogel is doing that. That's why it surprised me. I was live during Frank Vogel's presser, and in like the first 10 minutes, he mentioned DA, started hyping up DA. Same thing with Bradley Beal. That's what you have to do. So I like that. But you are right. You are fair to say, hey, I'm scared DA is going to get traded. I'm not necessarily scared he's going to get traded. It just wouldn't surprise me. Like maybe I'll have like a quick gut reaction, jump scare when he gets traded, but like I'm not going to be like, oh my God, DeAndre Ayton just got traded. Like I'm torn on it, man. I just feel like DA might thrive in this system, but it also wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't thrive here and ends up getting traded. I don't know. But I agree with you. I want to see him in this system. Exactly. So great comment there from Backcourt Highlights. So again, Frank Vogel's doing his job, man. You have to tell the media, you have to tell the fans, I like DA. I believe in DA. Yada, yada, yada. And even, I think he recently mentioned, did Frank Vogel recently mention campaign? I don't know, but I get what you're saying though. Real quick, $5 super chat from Roy. Appreciate you being here, man. He says, what's up, Geek? Leaving the country for a vacation, but keep up the great work. Love your content. Thanks for saying that, man. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Very generous. You didn't have to do that. He says, what's up, Geek? Or yeah, I read the chat, but have fun in your vacation, man. Safe travels to you. Appreciate you being here, brother. All right, let me get to a few more comments and then we will go. We'll probably wrap up the show, but let me just get to a couple more comments. Sean H says McConnell is now out of the picture. We chose to go with a big with Bol Bol. Exactly. And real quick with Sean's comment, the other day when I was live, I went over the Pacers roster and like they have Tyrese Halliburton. They probably have another guard who I'm forgetting, but they are kind of stacked at the guard position. But like, I don't, with TJ McConnell's contract, I was just like, I don't know how it would all work. And like, does Indiana even want to let go of McConnell? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to get traded, but the Phoenix Suns campaign thing, it just never, I don't know. We'll see though. Maybe within like the next hour or tomorrow he'll get traded. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Eli says, do you think DA will have a bounce back season this year, or will he get traded by the deadline? So sort of talked about that a little bit with back to the highlights comment. I'm going to kind of stick with what I was saying. And guys, I'm telling you, I've talked about this a lot. This is literally DeAndre Ayton's last chance. If DeAndre Ayton cannot thrive and bounce back and play well under this system, with this roster, with this coaching staff, he's gone. I don't see a scenario where the Suns keep him. Now, technically, he's under contract. They don't have to trade DA, but it's more of like a fit standpoint. And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe James Jones is going to be stubborn and keep DA, even if he struggles. But, you know, not talking about his stats, like if he's still the same old DA being like super cocky in front of the media and arguing with Frank Vogel and Book and KD and all them, I don't know why you'd want to keep him. I don't know, man. All right, let's see. I got somebody waiting in the chat. Just give me 1 second here and I'll make sure to get you on. If you guys want to join the show, maybe we'll go live for like another 15 more minutes. I'll put the link in the chat one more time. If you do join the show, though, make sure you have something to talk about. Make sure you have a comment, question, whatever. Let me just share this. Oop, did I put that right? I don't know. I don't know what just happened. Okay, don't click. Oh, sorry, guys. That was the wrong. Let me put the thing in the chat one more time. My bad, guys. That was not the right link. Click the second link that I just posted there. All right, anyways. Let me get to a couple more comments and we'll get this guest on because he has a question here. Okay. Let me see. Abraham says, can you see Isaiah Thomas, the 60th pick in the draft, I think in 2011, returning to Phoenix? Phoenix needs a true point guard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I doubt it. I mean, the dude's not even in the league. He probably should be, though, but like, even if he returns to the league, why would he come to the Suns? I don't know. So let me just put on my headphones. We'll get this guest on. If you guys want to join the show, ask a question, a comment, concern, whatever, bring a take, and then we'll probably just wrap things up from there. So put on my headphones. We're going to bring on Vote for Pedro. Vote for Pedro. Are you here, good sir?
Yes, sir. Hey. Happy Sunday. Man. Thank you so much for going live. I appreciate you so much. You're the best. You're the bomb, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Oh, and real quick, not a question so much as a woo-hoo! Yay! I wanted Bol Bol since 2019, baby. Woohoo! Oh, I'm doing back flips, front flips, and between flips. I am so happy. We finally have our developmental. We suffered through Bender and all that other junk to get Bol Bol finally into the valley. Darn you, James Jones, for Ty Jerome. I will never forgive you for that stupid pig. Horrible pig. Thank you, Kane, for all that you did.
Let him cook.
I got to play something.
Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said,
yes.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Keep cooking.
Ty Jerome is one of the main examples of when to not draft for need, okay? Horrible pick. I don't know how the heck he's still in the league. He sucks. Overrated bum. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But hey, thank you, campaign, for all that you did. It sucks that you ended up getting more injury prone, unfortunately. Appreciate everything that your hustle. You really love the Valley, so I thank you for your love and dedication. It is a business, though, but happy to have Bol Bol. Tesla Motor, you better get your junk together, man. I am sick and tired of. I was actually a defender of that knucklehead for the longest time. I'm over it, you know. Like I'm over him just being passive aggressive because that's what he is. He always does that crap, and hopefully Monty Williams like moving on and then doing something else. Hopefully that'll finally light a fire under his butt.
Yeah.
I know the Suns probably haven't traded him because there's nothing for him. He actually ruined his own value. So, hey, way to go, Da. Just keep.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry, just
No,
kind of
you're
trying
good,
to get
man.
a lot of all in one like little space of time. But I appreciate all that you do, man. Thank you so much.
No, you're good,
Welcome,
man.
Bol Bol.
Yeah.
Get your stuff together, Da, and thank you, campaign, and thank you for all that you do. You're the best. Thank you so much.
I love your energy, man. Thank you so much for coming on here and giving your hot takes and cooking, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Woo, yeah, baby. Hey, we need a ring, baby.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
do it for Larry, man. We gotta win Larry O'Brien. We gotta
Ring
win.
season, man.
This
Ring
fan
season.
base deserves it so terribly.
Appreciate you being here, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Yep. Have a
Appreciate
good
you,
one, bro. All right, vote for Pedro, bringing some heat, bringing some fire, getting me hyped up over here. And real quick, I don't mean to salt the wound on Ty Jerome, but he is 110% right. I wasn't super crazy about that pick. And again, this was a long time ago. This was back in 2019 and all that. That was a pick that just did not work out. And the dude, he played okay for the Warriors and was serviceable over there, but I think he's in like Cleveland now. Like, I don't know. We're going to bring on one more person. I don't even want to butcher your name. How do you pronounce your name?
Well, LaFleur.
LaFleur. I'm sorry, man. How's it going, man?
Good, how are you?
Doing good, man. Talk to me here. What are you thinking?
I'm just a KD fan, so if you know what I mean, I'm just a KD fan.
For sure,
so,
man. I like that.
So hopefully the Suns we win it this year, but
yeah, man. What are you thinking about the recent move that we made? You got any thoughts on Bol Bol or us trading campaign? Like, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, I think Bol Bol's tough. You know what I mean? He's just, and plus he said he looks up to Kevin Durant, so I feel like it'd be good for him.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, man. I appreciate you.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of talked about it earlier. He definitely is a fan of Kevin Durant. He even said that recently. And again, I think it kind of gets overlooked that again, I don't know when that picture surfaced, but he was with Paul George. He was with KD working out. I think it's going to be fine. It's a high risk, high reward, or low risk, high reward.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to trade DA because they got 3 centers or 4, right? With Biombo?
No, Biombo's a free agent. I don't think he's coming back. But I kind of get what you're saying. What do you think a DA trade would look like? I'm going to put you on the spot here. What do you think a DA trade would look like?
I mean, you could trade DA for like some role players, like good veteran role players. Like they don't really need too much. They just need like a good defensive big that can set good screens, roll, all that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because DA, I don't know. He's a number 1 pick, so I feel like he wants to flourish somewhere else.
Yeah. And that's why I've been saying, man, I've been saying this for a while, that this is DA's last chance. I truly believe it, man. Like, if he can't thrive under this roster, he's gone.
Facts.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I appreciate you calling in, man.
For sure. Thank you, man.
Yep. Have a good one, man. All right, LaFleur calling in. Appreciate that. All right, guys, get your final questions in. Get your comments. Get your concerns. Whatever. Get them in now. We'll go for 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes, y'all. Because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I just woke up, ate a light breakfast, got ready, and did this live show. So we will go live for about 10 more minutes. Let me just read some more comments and questions from the chat here. Get your comments and questions in now. Let me see. I see a couple trolls in the chat. We're not going to address them. Let me see. So RC talks all things basketball. I don't know if you're just joining the show, but this is what has been reported by Shams and what we kind of all predicted. Bradley Beal is going to be our point guard as of right now. Because your comment says, who is going to play point guard? I can't express this enough. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Eric Gordon might even play a little point guard. By the way, for those of you who care what John Gambo has to say, Gambo tweets, I like campaign, but reality is that players like this are easily replaceable. Players that play in cycles. Great 1 week, bench the next. Suns have a ton of those. Dario, Frank, Okogie, Corey, Ross, TJ, Javon, Landry, Biz, JaVale, Damian, and a 6.5 plus tax. It made sense. Kind of a good point there from Gambo. Let me just share Gambo's tweet real quick, and then we'll get one more person on, and then we'll get to some comments, and then we'll call it a day. I like this tweet from Gambo. It's a little harsh. It's a little harsh here. But this tweet's kind of true. And I think Gambo is just saying this because of the current state of the Suns and how deep we are and the great offseason that we had. He literally just tweeted this. For those of you who care about what Gambo has to say. And don't get me wrong, Gambo is pretty connected in my opinion. He's been right about a lot of things like the Bol Bol stuff. But he said, I like campaign, but the reality is that players like this are easily replaceable. Players that play in cycles, great 1 week, bench the next. Suns have a ton of those, or had a ton of those. Dario, Frank, Okogie, blah, 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 blah. And the 6.5 plus tax, it made sense. A little harsh of a tweet, but it's true. That's why those guys didn't stick. And I will say this too. This kind of reminded me. I don't want to put words in Frank Vogel's mouth here, but I really believe this. If you're not going to work on this roster, if you're not going to put in the work and play consistently and work your tail off, and you're not a good culture setting guy and all that stuff, I think Frank Vogel's going to bench you. I'm not going to put words in Frank Vogel's mouth. I'm not trying to tell Frank Vogel how to do his job. I just kind of see that. I'm kind of getting those vibes from Frank Vogel, because how many times did Frank Vogel say in his presser like we're gonna work, we're gonna be dogs on defense and get after it, and Frank Vogel schemes and all that. And I don't know. Real quick, I want to get to a super chat here. Shout out to my guy Andrew, been a guest on this channel a couple times. Hey Suns Geek, God bless. Long time no see. Appreciate you being here, man. God bless you. Book will thrive under this new defensive system. KD unlocked Book during the playoffs because CP3 didn't have too much control over Book like in 2020. Thank you for the $10 super chat. You didn't have to do that, man, but I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the nice comment and the nice super chat. That's fair. I don't really know if it's a Chris Paul had control over Book. I don't know if it's a KD had control over Book. I get what you're saying, though, but I don't think it's like that. I get what you're saying. Book's going to thrive under this new system. Maybe we see a new version of KD. Maybe we see a new version of a lot of these players under Frank Vogel and this new coaching staff. So again, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right, so let's get to a couple more comments. We're going to go for about 5 more minutes, y'all. 5 more minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. All right. Corey says Gambo is spot on. Mark Cooper says, I always wondered if Ayton would complain about getting the ball more now because he complained that Monty didn't give it to him enough or give him enough opportunities. So I hope that's not an issue. Mark, I swear you always come with great comments and great thoughts. Oh, this is tough. This is tough to answer here. I think the key word, and again, I get what you're saying here. He says, I always wondered if Ayton would complain about getting the ball more. I don't know if he's necessarily going to complain. Maybe he'll get a bit vocal on it. I have a feeling, and I could be wrong here. I have a feeling that maybe DA gets more vocal about it later. Because you got to kind of work things out on the court first. You got to kind of see how it's going to look. I think Ayton will be a little optimistic. He'll probably say things like, oh, yeah, I'm excited, and I can't wait to play with Bradley Beal, and I can't wait to clean up the messes and all that stuff. And you guys know how DA is with the media. He's going to be cocky. He's going to be arrogant. He's going to act like nothing's wrong. But I can see him getting a bit more vocal later about touches and getting the ball more. But again, Bradley Beal's talked about it. Frank Vogel's talked about it. Multiple ball handler attack. Both Frank Vogel and Bradley Beal have said great things about DA. and sort of, not what was the word, Frank Volt? Like reviving or bringing out a different DA. And we'll see, man. That's what training camp's for. That's what preseason's for. To figure out your roster, to see what works, to see what doesn't, to practice plays. I mean, these guys got to study Frank Vogel's playbook. Let's be real. They got to do it. So, great comment, Mark. I get what you're saying. I'll just say I could see DA maybe getting a little more vocal down the road, but right away, I don't think he's going to necessarily complain. All right, let's see. Let me just get to a few more comments. Let's see. Bob says, Morning Geek, I think DA turns a major. Wait. Morning Geek, I think DA turns a major concern. Corner, I'm sorry. I can't read, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. Morning Geek, I think DA turns a major corner this year. I like that optimism there. All right. Let me see. Get to a few more comments here. Drew says, and this is a Spurs fan here. Drew says, as a Spurs fan, how does campaign fit with Pop's system involving moving the ball and passing up a good shot for the best shot? Oh, great question here, Drew. I really like this question. Now, look, I barely have watched any Spurs games the last couple of years, so I'm a casual when it comes to that, right? I'm not afraid to admit that. It's real. I barely watched any Spurs games last year, especially the last couple of years, because they haven't been good. Let's be real. And obviously, you guys are going to get probably a few national games because of Wemby and all that. You'll probably get a lot of national games. But I like this comment here. How does campaign fit with Pop's system involving moving the ball and passing up a good shot for the best shot? I will say this, and maybe campaign changes. Maybe he comes into the Spurs with a new vision and wants to change up his game a little bit. I will say campaign does kind of take some wild shots. I don't know if Greg Popovich is going to like that. Just saying. And you can go look at the highlights. Sometimes his shot selection is not the best. He'll just fling it up there. But if campaign stays with the Spurs, I'm sure him and Pop will talk, and I'm sure Pop will do a good job of making campaign fit into the system. But I will say this, campaign, he's fast, very fast, can explode to the basket, can do a little bit of playmaking. And if that's what Pop wants him to do, to pass up a good shot for the best shot, I can see campaign doing that. But history shows that sometimes campaign, passes or not passes. He takes the wild shot, if you will. Great question there from Drew, who's actually a Spurs fan watching the channel. Appreciate that, man. All right, let's see. Okay. Gonna address a comment here. Cocky and arrogant. Just because DA doesn't address his issues directly in front of the press doesn't mean he's cocky and arrogant. Go back and watch some press conferences and interviews with DA. He's very cocky and arrogant, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like that DA's cocky and arrogant. Just sometimes he's just a little too arrogant. You know what I mean? Like he talks like he's a top 3 center when in reality is like a top 10 center. And I'm not trying to hate on DA, but that's just how I look at it. I mean, look at the end of the year press conferences, man. Before we got embarrassed by the Nuggets, I was like, DeAndre Ayton's out of his mind, man. Sorry, guys. That's just my personal opinion. You guys can disagree with me if you want. That's how I look at DA. And I like DA, man. I'm sure if I met him in person, he'd be a nice guy, cool guy and all that. But all right. Couple more comments, then we'll get out of here, I promise. Shout out to my guy, DJ Ocho, was recently on the channel, who was live from Summer League, who was generous enough to send me some great Summer League stuff. Appreciate you being here, man. All right, let's see. All Ayton does is set good screens. That could be debatable. Roll hard, dunk as much as possible, rebound and rim protect. Easy double-double every night. I agree with the double-double part. And I'm just saying, I think DeAndre Ayton has a lot of pressure on him this year. Because not only is he playing with a stacked roster, but look at his contract. Look at us maxing him out. You got to live up to that contract. Last year, he didn't do that. If anything, he like underperformed. I'm going to go on. That's my hot take. DeAndre Ayton underperformed last year for a max contract player. And I understand the Monty Williams stuff and, you know, the roster changed now, and I get it, but you underperformed last year. And I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton needs to be an all-star this year, although that would be a bonus. If DeAndre Ayton was an all-star, that would be like icing on the cake, but maybe get a few all-star votes in there. Maybe become a top 5 center like we all know you can be. DeAndre Ayton's got a lot of pressure on him this year. All right, let's see. TLGS Services says the Spurs missed the mark on this one. They were supposed to sign Bol Bol. That's hilarious. Was that ever reported that Bol Bol was going to go to the Spurs? I don't know, man. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. All right. Bol wanted to play with multiple superstars to enhance his game. Arrogant needs self-awareness. I agree with that. King J Rock says, damn, man, really liked the campaign. Me too, man. I get what you're saying. DJ Ocho says, glad campaign is gone. Shot wild, and he was a Monty guy. I agree with that. Corey says, sets good screens, quote, when he wants to. Exactly. That's why I was like, wait a minute. I was like, DA sets good screens? I was like, not really. Like, when he wants to, he does. All right. Couple more comments, and then we're going to wrap everything up, y'all. Let me just see if I'm missing anything here. Booker is that dude, though. Bol Bol, the Wemby killer, says Andy. Oh, God. Let me know what you guys saw from Victor Wembanyama. I know he only played in 2 Summer League games. I know his first game was a disaster, but looked a lot better in that second one. I'll just say that. Real quick, thoughts on Wemby that might get overlooked, and I'm not trying to, like, make excuses for Victor Wembanyama. I will say this, though. In all fairness to Victor, and this might be getting overlooked here, I've seen other, like, big names and reporters and all that talk about it, but he did kind of have, how do I say this? He was probably exhausted prior to Summer League, and I'm not trying to make excuses. He's the number 1 overall pick. He's the most, like, hyped pick ever, you know, all that. But, like, he was playing over in Europe or whatever, like in some tournament or whatever, and then I guess he flew to New York and all that and had a few busy days prior to that. And you guys get what I'm saying? Like, he had a busy time prior to Summer League. Maybe that's why he struggled. I will say that first Summer League game, though, I mean, at first I was like, I'm going to give him a C-. It's his first Summer League game. You know, he's playing with new guys and a new, you know, European or overseas basketball is different than the NBA and all that. I was like, I'll give it a C. And then he got dunked on by Kai Jones. And I was like, yeah, I give it an F. And then he even had that quote saying, I didn't really know what I was doing out there. I was like, oh, God, like, this is a disaster. But then he bounced back and had that, you know, double-double or whatever. So, all right. That's my thoughts on Wemby. And I will say this, too. I'm actually legit rooting for the guy. I hope that he does live up to the hype. I hope that he is, like, the next great prospect, you know, the next rising superstar, you know, just because as of right now, even though Zion's a great player when he's healthy, he hasn't really lived up to that and all that. And you guys get what I'm saying? I don't know. All right, let me see. Let me just get to a few more comments. Let me just scroll down here. Corey says DA needs to watch Draymond Green's screen game. DeAndre Ayton needs to watch a lot of players and how they play. I'll just say that. TLG Services says, as a Spurs fan, I'm still wondering why he looked like a newborn deer out there. Exactly, especially in that first game. Abraham says, Thank you, Geek, thank you, Sun Geek, for this inspirational stream. You're welcome, man. I'm just sitting here talking to you guys, reacting. I appreciate you. Y'all delusional campaign was a lottery pick and torched my Lakers in the bubble. That's funny. Just when I didn't think Bol Bol can grow more to the Suns. Just when I didn't think Bol Bol can grow more to the Suns. Cactus emoji. DJ Ocho says Wemby will take this first year to learn in the NBA. Exactly. I agree with that. I'm just saying, I just hope he lives up to the hype. Let's be real. Like, LeBron, who knows when LeBron's going to retire? I know we still got Giannis and Jokic and Booker and all of them, but like, we need sort of that newer decade of players, Like I don't even have the names in front of you. You guys know who I'm talking about, like the Anthony Edwardses and the Wembys and all these players. We need like that next generation of players. That's why I hope Zion like lives up, or not Zion. That's why I hope Wemby lives up to the hype. You know what I mean? Mark Cooper says, Saban Lee had some good moments, but Monty didn't utilize him right away. I think he can be valuable. What do you think? Great question here from Mark. I get what you're saying. And look, obviously, I mean, is it fair to say that this roster is much deeper than last year's? I know that might sound stupid, but like, is it fair to say that? Let's be real. Saban Lee was buried at the end of the bench last year. And I think due to his contract, even though I think he was on the roster on paper, he technically wasn't dressed to play. He's going to get buried on the bench. But I know he's going to work his tail off in practice. I know that. And maybe there is an opportunity in some case scenario where he gets to play. But he's got a lot of pressure on him too. A lot of these guys do. Sort of like last year, especially after the trade deadline, when we got Warren and then we signed Ross and all that, the bench had a lot of pressure. They had a lot of expectations. So I think Saban Lee will get buried on the bench, but I'll be excited when he does play. I'll just say that. And it's been proven that Monty didn't really utilize a lot of guys like a Warren or a Ross, for example. And I don't know. All right, let's see. Yeah, so Andy kind of says what I was just saying. I'm excited for everyone to compete for spots in the rotation. Will elevate everyone's game. I like the last part of that comment. I think these guys are going to work very hard against each other and fight for roster spots. I think we're going to, and look, these guys, I'm sure these guys are going to have great chemistry. It's not like these guys are going to like hate each other, but it's like, I think these guys are really going to work their tails off and battle and try to get minutes. So I think I think those are the kind of players that we have on this roster. All right. Gambino says campaign got traded for a bag of chips. Hey, we need all the draft picks we can get. And technically it's sort of like we traded campaign for Bol Bol. You could make that argument. Let's see. League in good hands with Ja, Tatum, Luka. Yeah, how did I forget Luka? Booker, et cetera, Edwards. All right. The monkey 79 says, I don't even know if I read that right. Does this take them out of the running for McConnell? Yes. Again, maybe I'm wrong here. I'm sure somebody on Suns Twitter has come up with a scenario on how to get TJ McConnell. To my knowledge, right now, I don't see a scenario where we get him. And again, I said this earlier. Do the Pacers even want to let him go? Like, maybe they want to keep him. He's a serviceable, good player. All right. I want to see the fight for the roster spots, but I don't want us juggling the fifth starter all the way through the playoffs again. Ooh, I love that comment. I get what you're saying, and you are right. You don't want us juggling the fifth starter all the way through the playoffs again. I get what you're saying, but I will say this. I think you should do that at the start of the season. Because again, with KD and all that, we didn't really have time to kind of figure out the roster. And remember, KD missed what, like, he played the 8 games, and then the injury happened, and he missed a little bit of time. So, like, you know, you guys get what I'm saying? And we're bringing in new guys like Warren and Ross and all that. Like, I think you should experiment. Now, again, there should be a little bit of like a deadline, if you will, to say, hey, we got to figure out who the 5th starter is. We got to get our rotation. I can maybe see Frank Vogel maybe kind of doing what Monty did in terms of like playing just 10 guys. It's kind of like what a lot of teams do. I get your concern, but I think they should experiment and kind of juggle the 5th starter or juggle some of the rotation. I don't know. But again, I'm not a basketball head coach. Frank Vogel knows way more. He's won a championship before. So we'll see. I get your concern there. Practice is going to be must-watch TV. Exactly. I mean, they never do because practice is like behind closed doors, but they do let the media in at some point. That's going to be huge. Watching those post practices, which sometimes they do run like little scrimmages post practice, but yeah, that's definitely going to be must see TV. By the way, for anybody who cares, recently it was it Bradley Beal? It was somebody in Keita Bates Diop. They were like putting up shots together. I forgot who it was. It was Keita Bates Diop and somebody else. Already building chemistry and getting up shots in Las Vegas, I believe. Slayer says, in my opinion, the Suns shouldn't. Sorry, in my opinion, the Suns should have traded for McConnell and then signed Bol Bol. I can't read. The Suns now have 2 available trade exceptions they can use between now and February's deadline, says Bob. Thank you for letting me know. $6.5 million trade. TPE via campaign. $5 million. I can't read. Dario possessing 6 future second round picks. Phoenix might not be done adding to their roster, says Bob. All right. Some nice players sharing between Phoenix and San Antonio. KBD, Eubanks, Jock, all former Spurs. Exactly. All right, y'all. My brain's fried. I think I'm going to get out of here. Sorry if I missed your question and your comment. I appreciate everybody that was in here. We still have over 200 people in here, and I've just been rambling for like the last 20 minutes. We had some great questions. We had some great comments. We had some great guests, and I appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, I think that's it, everybody. Stay tuned. You guys know me. I'm going to keep pumping out the best Phoenix Suns content possible. I say this after every live show, but I really mean it. I know that there's a lot of great Suns podcasts out there. I know that there's a lot of great Suns content, but the fact that you guys keep watching me means the world to me. And you guys are just amazing. You guys don't know how much your support means to me. I really appreciate it. And just to get to one last final comment, where was it? Allie says, do you think the Suns is done, or should we wait to hear for one more trade? I'll just say this, and I'm talking to everybody in the chat, even if you're watching later. Just stay by your phones, y'all. I'm not saying DA is going to get traded. I don't know. I'm just saying stay by your phone, because I keep saying this. It could be August, and we could hear of a trade. It could be late September. We could hear of a trade. Just stay by your phones, y'all. It probably will get a little slow. There probably won't be much to talk about, but just stay tuned, y'all. Suns got to make some moves. These things take time and all that, but all right, y'all. Let's see. Please prepare your show and be ready to present, skip the coffee, and deliver content. This could be a good 5-minute presentation. A general hour-long ramble, not so good. Oh. All right, Bill. No disrespect, sir. How do I say this? Do you think you could do better, Bill? I mean, dude, this coffee keeps me going, man. I understand what you're saying, but like, if you guys would have seen me like 2 hours ago, I would have been like this on the live show. I would have been like this. Oh, hey guys, Payne just got traded, and here's this, and here's what. Bill, I'm sorry, man. That comment, no. You want to start a podcast, man? Go for it, bro. You do your thing, man. You see how it is. I need my coffee, man. Sorry, guys. That comment bugged me, man. That's ooh. All right. On that note, I'm definitely gonna get out of here because I don't want to say anything and get canceled. Allie says thank you for reading and sharing your thoughts. Yeah. Anyways, I love you guys. I don't want to piss anybody off. I don't want to get canceled. So I love you guys. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for the real ones who understand that I am a one-man show here and I work my ass off over here. And again, there's other podcasts out there that have teams of people and have multiple people to help the show. Ooh, sorry guys. That kind of got me heated. Anyways, I love you guys. I'm out of here. God bless you guys. Stay safe. Peace out. And as always, go Suns.
What's up, Suns?